Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here talking about some cool stuff today. Actually, I put together some of the latest and greatest news. Got a nice mix of different topics. But first things first, what's up in the world of Mr. Tim? What are you doing?
Oh, what's up? Just playing a lot of ASIMs, man, and I've been working on Fallout 76 a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the vault. I think it's 51. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, it's a cool game. I just haven't been focusing a lot on it because I have that and ASIMs. Oh, and there's that hockey game I got too, which is what got my butt kicked on. I figures because you can't compete against these people who sit there and play so much, man. It's like such sweat lords and tryhards.
Sweat lords and tryhards.
Oh, thinking of which, there's a new tennis game on PC. I might get that. I love Mario Tennis, but Mario Tennis is more flashy, right?
I don't. How many games do you buy, man?
I buy a lot.
Clearly,
Not too many on the Switch, but I always wait for the big sale. So every time Steam has a sale, like one year I bought 10 new games. Last year I bought 22 new games, but a lot of them are board games. So
oh, it doesn't.
a
No,
lot
I'm
of
just
good board
curious
games.
because like you keep telling me, it's like, oh, dude, you should buy this game,
Yeah,
buy that game, buy the other game. I'm like, I
Jared,
play
you need
one
to,
game,
man.
one game
No,
at a
Jared.
time.
Oh, Jared, you need to play multiple games,
Yeah,
man.
when running a company and working full time for another
Yeah.
plus. Yeah,
Oh, Jared, such excuses, such
of
excuses.
course, of course.
We do
So
got a good list of topics
we
today.
do, yeah. Why don't you talk about the first one because it's
All right,
something you've been playing about, like not
yeah,
playing about, but you've been playing.
playing Helldivers 2 gets review bombed because it's requiring the PSN sign in. Okay, so when I set it up, I think it was required,
Hmm.
or yeah, because I had to set it up, and I told you guys in a few podcasts back, I don't remember what my PSN network account was, so I made a new one for Helldivers, logged in successfully. Then I remembered, oh shoot, I remember the old one. I reset the password and had like a $25 credit after a year. I don't know, 10 years plus. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I thought it was required then, but I guess Jared's going to explain they removed the requirement and now they enforce it. So all the little chimmies out there are very upset that they have to link it up, which is bullshit because Electronic Arts does it for years. You have the EA accounts. Capcom has their own Capcom ID that's required for you to play their games. More so now than before. Before it was kind of their now like for any of their new games you have to have it. Ubisoft, etc., etc. So it's nothing new. These guys, people are idiots because you force them to do something and their narcissistic personalities come in to play. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know why they're doing it, but I hope that the problem is Arrowhead's apologizing. No, you stand your ground. Don't apologize. Say no. This is a requirement, and this is what we're doing. Sorry. That's what I would say. Now they're trying to backpedal. Now they're blaming Sony. And when you do stuff like that, it makes you look bad. I'm sorry. It makes you look bad. Excuses. Just tell them the truth. This is a requirement by Sony. Sorry, guys. And people respect that a lot more than backpedaling. But,
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Like, and for me, we talked about this a little while ago. Actually, I think we talked about it last week, where I was saying how, like, for me, I actually really respect the way Microsoft has done like their like Game Pass because yeah, okay, fine. It's not on Steam or anything like that, but still, like I like the fact that you you have this like shared ecosystem type of thing. And so for like Sony, they don't have like, Sony PC or whatever. So they're using Steam, they're using like whatever they can to like sell their games. But there's some good stuff there too. Like I mean people are funny. They get up in arms over like every little change,
All
but
the time, dude.
but for me it was like I was saying the other day to you, like I would probably go back and like replay Ghost of Tsushima on
You would, okay.
PC with like if I right now there's no point, right? Like I would be somewhere in like the mid tier graphics, something like that. So like my current PC is probably around the strength of a PS5, some maybe a little less than a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. But if I had a newer graphics card or whatever, and I could experience like more of that immersion, oh yeah, I would absolutely do that. But it would be super cool if it used my PlayStation Network information, just like Helldivers 2, because like I was saying the other day, like it would be really cool to have trophies and all of that all embedded.
Exactly.
Like, so
Yeah,
I don't get it. You could still have your Steam achievements and stuff like that. It's just that the lists match. So you unlock your Steam achievement, but you also unlock a trophy on the PlayStation Network. Nothing wrong with that. Like,
no, yeah, and I don't know why people are making mistake uproar about it, but I do think that they should have kept it requirement permanently rather than that's kind of a little bit of a mess up because it starts kind of messing issues up. But well, yeah, a lot of games on Steam even gives you a warning: third-party agreement account required. And if you accept it and you buy it, you means you agree to it. You're not going to change your mind. Oh, I don't like it now. So yeah, I don't like them backpedaling. But Sony, I don't think is going to back down. Sony.
Well, no, like for me,
they've already made their money.
For me, I'm like, I don't want them. I know this is going to sound silly, but like in a way, I don't want them to back down because I want PlayStation games to eventually be part of that unified sort of platform like that. I told you the other day, like I would seriously question buying another PlayStation if they did that. Like if they had a unified platform, I would really have to think twice about it. I'll be honest. I'd have to really think twice about it because I would just buy a friggin' really good computer and then I don't need an Xbox. I don't need a PlayStation. I just have my PC, but I wish someone would release, well, Microsoft, I guess, would release a handheld that was Windows based but was like designed around a shell just like the Steam Deck was. Because so far I've tried a few of them and the Steam Deck is still by far my favorite. Like it's just so you get like the best of both worlds. So it's super user friendly, but at the same time, you do get the customizations and stuff like that if you want. The thing is that it's running basically an emulator layer to pretend you're playing through Windows type of thing. Whereas it would be amazing if like Microsoft were to release a handheld that was Windows based, had Game Pass on there, and the coolest thing was those rumors saying that imagine if Steam was on it, like that. Then all of a sudden, if that's the case, I'm done. Then I'm done because I would buy something. I'd buy something like that for the TV, and that's it.
Speaking of handhelds, we're going to have to discuss once we get some more info about the Switch 2 that. I don't know, man. We keep talking about it, but the market's changing, and they always say, "Where's Nintendo going to be? Where's Nintendo?" They keep raking in the big bucks, but I think long term, though, I do think. I don't know. Do you really think Microsoft's interested in a handheld?
Well, I think
on it though.
I think again, like Microsoft has shown that they're willing to try.
Yeah, and they're willing. Yeah.
These things, like for me, I think I can, like. A Steam Deck, like I've said before, Steam Deck changed the game in some ways. It was known from day one that this would not be Switch.
A competitor,
no way. You're not going to compare something that's just like a few $100s to something that's like almost $1,000. Like that's not gonna, like, those are night and day things. But part of me would love to see an Xbox branded.
I would love it too, and I'd probably be tempted to buy it, but I don't know. See, I'm the wrong person to talk to because I'm not really a console person, and I'm not a mobile person. I know that mobile's pretty much dominant force in the market, and the young generation of kids, they like mobile. They don't get desktops anymore. They still get laptops, so laptop sales are still really good. Desktop sales are, they're so I can't understand. The thing is, the PC market's still growing, though. That's what's amazing. Desktops aren't. Really going to be a thing, but it's still making a lot of money. I mean, but PC gamers and mobile and console gamers are two different beasts, right? They're not really intertwined. I mean, you have some that I always say consoles are your training wheels for gaming, and then you eventually go to PC. But I don't know. the future's just different, man. People, attention spans aren't the same that they used to be. They want just instant gratification, instant win, or low commitment, like a 5-minute session. That's it. They don't, there's some people that still like it, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see how the gaming trend is.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to say is like the future. A lot of these Japanese companies, and we're gonna talk too about Japanese company. I don't know. We'll see how good they do. I mean, wasn't Capcom like on the ropes for a long time, but they seem to come stabilize?
Yeah, Capcom stabilized after the PlayStation 3 era. That really was not a good time for a lot of the companies that are from, well, a lot of the Japanese companies, because that was the great shift towards Western development. And anyway, all this to say, like, just to wrap up, like my thoughts on that is, like, I do think like there is a way to get the best of both worlds. Like, like for me, if I don't want to boot up the PC, if I just want to sit down, I just want to relax, the Steam Deck is a dream come true. It really is. Like, it's friggin' amazing. I can just, I lower the frame rates to 40 frames and I'm gold. I can sit on my sofa. I don't have that much time anymore, so I just...
Yeah, so for you, it looks like it's really good.
Yeah, it is.
I've never... Like I told you, with my Switch, only time I ever had it handheld was when I set it up initially, because you had to do, I think, the touchscreen, if I remember right, or... After that, it's been docked, and I never undock it. I do not play it mobile. No, I'm not interested. I'm not a mobile guy.
No, and that's
handheld.
I mean, that's it, right? Like, for me, it's just nice to not have to look, on anything. I just sit down and away we go. But the one part that's missing is the TV. Is, like I keep saying, that's the one thing that I have yet to figure out a good way of doing that. But I'm very much... I'm really curious, man, to see like where we go, like where things go from here. There is definitely something to what the Switch has introduced, like with form factor and convenience and stuff like that. There's something there, because being able to play on my PC, like Fallout, for example, being able to play that on my PC looks beautiful, runs perfectly smooth. Shut off my PC, make some dinner, do whatever I gotta do, grab my Steam Deck, go sit on the sofa for half an hour, and all of a sudden it's like I'm continuing right where I left off. Everything is exactly the same. Like, that kind of stuff, if I could then somehow also have it on my television, but with the lush visuals, because if I connect my Steam Deck, obviously it's gonna be reduced, because it's not a big PC or whatever. And if you start to, like even the Portal, PlayStation 5, right? Like, that's pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie. For like half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, something like that, if I just want to sit back and relax, that's pretty cool. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think like all of these companies are realizing, like, okay, options is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, give players like the option and they will play your games. So, big news coming out of Japan this week with Square-Enix, and it's not good news. We heard a few weeks back that the Dragon Quest producer was basically kicked off the series, and now it's going to be with the Nier Automata, or whatever, however that's pronounced, Nier series. But we're starting to get a lot of clarity on like what is exactly happening. They basically reported like $140 million loss. And
it's not good, dude.
No, it's not good. And it's almost entirely like on all of their AAA failures. So they just had a string of AAA failures of like one after another, from Final Fantasy 16 to Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, just not performing.
And I told you, they made a lot of mistakes with the Final Fantasy. Make it split to 2 games. It was a bad move, and I think that left. Well, I remember, if you read a lot of reviews, they didn't like that. They said, "Oh, you're effing trying to do this and this, and they condemn us." Okay, but that's besides the point, because I understand AAA. We talk about how AAA gaming is kind of going to be very selective going forward. A lot of AA stuff's going to be coming up, and of course, indie platforms are doing extremely well because of the copy. I think people, especially with them hiking up game pricing. I mean, obviously, there's going to be games that people buy no matter what, But the gaming industry is in an interesting position because AAA's a lot of not only them but other AAA games have just been failing, and their cost for them is absurd. So it's gonna be interesting. But Square losing this kind of money is not good, guys. And especially I'm kind of thinking, do I dare say that Square is just maybe an archaic being that's
well, no,
not
I think
enough?
no, I think they just they got a string because I mean before that they were killing it with their sales, so I think it's just
I mean,
16 for final. So like you got to break down all of the like what didn't sell, when it was released, what the thing was with Final Fantasy 16. I think the biggest thing they had going against it was I just didn't see much marketing. I didn't see much marketing behind it.
You remember, because they're used to the name carrying it. But another thing too is like the Final Fantasy series as a whole, other than online, it's kind of been on a huge down. It's not as big as it used to be. I mean, 7 they kind of revamped the controls, trying to modernize it, but I don't think it's that big of a series anymore.
Well,
especially
Final Fantasy, what is it? Remake, the first part there, that did gangbusters. That did like crazy well.
Nostalgia, yeah. But
this is the whole thing. And so, like, when now that the second one is out and is not like is underperforming, like Anyway, all this to say, I mean, we can't. It's impossible to judge of like what exactly is going on or whatnot. I think personally, I feel that with Final Fantasy 16, most of that has to do with like
marketing.
I think so. Like there was like a lot of folks like just didn't really hear much about it, and it was playing on that Game of Thrones riff. Like it was actually like fantasy based, like it felt like it was like in medieval times and stuff. So that's kind of cool. That's a nice departure from where it's been. So that's disappointing. I do want to check that out. I just, again, with my limited time, it's when.
Yeah. I'm surprised you never got online, man. Online
I did. I played
extremely
Final Fantasy.
well.
I played both online games.
Which one do you like better, the new one?
Yeah, just because it was like more focused on like the story and stuff like that, I found anyway. But I mean, this was years ago. I haven't played in years. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Okay, so the other thing that kind of affects me is there's a lot of rumors coming out of Japan talking about Dragon Quest in particular, saying like, okay, so like what is happening now, because there's a bunch of games that have been canceled. Again, rumors, we don't know if this is real, but a whole bunch of stuff saying that they've been canceled or restarted. Everything from like the Dragon Quest 3 remake, the HD 2D remake has been canceled, to Dragon Quest 12 is being restarted and whatever. But one thing, I did a little research with Ahmed the other day, and I did not know this. I always thought it was broken up. That series was broken up like Pokemon. But it is not broken up like Pokemon. Dragon Quest is 100% owned by Armor Project, which has one major shareholder, Yuji Horii. He owns Dragon Quest fully. He fully owns Dragon Quest, and the company is made up of his family. Like it's like the whole like board of directors is all made up of family members of his. He licenses the games to Square-Enix, but they have no say on anything. Like it's basically him. He is the one guy who controls the whole thing. So that is very interesting because
that is
because sorry, go ahead.
I really hope the remake doesn't get canned, because that's one of the few game remakes I actually want to get, because one, Dragon Quest 3 or Dragon Warrior when it was in North America back in the day, was something I never played. So for me, it'll be 100% new experience, and I love their whole 2D 3D art style that they've been doing with their games. So I was really looking for that. I hope it doesn't get canned, but it sounds like a lot of the times too, guys, you have to remember, a lot of these rumors are actually come to fruition because they're rumors, quote unquote, but a lot of times there are leaks, sometimes deliberately leaked to get see what happens, get interest going, see what feedback or what people say. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's canned, and that's sad.
Yeah, that would be sad. Because, well, just because. But the one other thing that I thought was kind of interesting is, you guys know the way this works. When companies do not perform well, you basically become vulnerable. You become vulnerable
yes.
to, takeovers and stuff like that. And for a long time, there's been a lot of rumors that Microsoft's been trying to get a Japanese,
Square?
yeah, because like that way they could get a foothold into Japan. But yeah, but now that I found out about that news about Dragon Quest, I'm like, could you imagine that? Like, I think right away Yuji Horii would go to Nintendo and be like, here you go. I want to license you to be the exclusive licenser.
Yeah, so that doesn't
Like,
make yeah. Because Dragon Quest has been kind of Nintendo's baby, right? So I think Nintendo would be definitely interested.
oh hell yes! Are you kidding?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
because there's no way in hell that Microsoft becomes the
No, I don't think.
face of Dragon Quest. There's no chance. Like,
No.
I'm sorry guys, like there's no chance. Like
Even if they bought them, I mean, obviously you would help them in Japan getting that, but I don't even think it still. They would be getting it for Dragon Quest, and Microsoft's not interested in making exclusives. They've already kind of said
no, and not only
right?
that. Remember,
So-
if they buy Square-Enix, they do not get Dragon Quest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly.
So that's the
and then I
whole-
would see them hopping.
Me too.
We'll see. It's interesting because little child boy about Nintendo is Nintendo's said too is like next gen they're really going to be sourcing a lot of their stuff. So it's interesting to see where the Japanese market goes in the next 5 to 10 years, because I don't know, Nintendo doesn't do crap for their system really. They do their their key titles, but other than that, that's it. They don't make that many games, and it's always historically, if you look at it, it's always been like that. Thinking of which, I look at the Nintendo eShop the other day, and every time I look at it, I see nothing but pure crap 90% of the time. It's like, where's the good games, man? I mean, there's not that many good games or anything that interests me on the Switch other than, Zelda. But how often does a Zelda come out? Right?
Once a generation, twice if you're lucky. So, anyways, guys, like I just thought it was interesting. That's all. I never knew that about Dragon Quest. I always thought it was broken up between the 3 creators, but it's not. It's really not. Then the other guys, they basically did work for hire, meaning that all those original graphics and everything like that are still owned by Armor Project. It's sort of like Marvel and how they it's an artist creates Deadpool for Marvel or whatever. They don't really get anything because you were employed by a company. So anyway, just really, really interesting.
And before we switch gears, I do think I agree that the 12s might have been reset, because there's been virtually no news since that launch. Well, how many years has it been? 2, 3 now?
Yeah, no, something's up. Something's up.
Yeah, there's something up with 12. We should have gotten more gameplay, or at least gameplay by now, or something. And that's sad. I do not think they'll ever can the whole series as a whole, but something's going on, and that's unfortunate.
Well,
so
guys.
Later this year we get more info, but I don't think we're gonna get anything Dragon Quest related this year, dude.
Well,
wouldn't be surprised.
It depends on who us is. So. Japan for sure.
Well, their series is now global. I don't think we're going to have that old issue, which is great for you because you don't have to import anymore.
Well, yeah, but again, it depends on what we're talking about. So with Dragon Quest, I don't think it'll ever be Pokemon. Like, I don't think it'll ever be Pokemon. Where Pokemon, like for years and years and years, like like Steven, he's always, imported the Australian ones and stuff like that, because for years and years and years now, like it's been pretty much global, like global releases. It wasn't always like that. But for Dragon Quest, the numbered series, they said, would be, day and date worldwide. But we haven't really seen that at all yet. Not with the big ones. Dragon Quest X offline, Japan exclusive. has yet to,
Yeah.
like, no one knows if that's ever coming here. Dragon Quest X Online, Japanese exclusive. We got, what was the last, like, treasures we got monsters, which was really good, like all day and date. That's awesome. That was great. I was counting on Dragon Quest 3 to be like the real test to see, like, are we really going to get this? But now I don't know. And now, especially if 12 has been restarted, then honestly I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what's happening.
I know I always tell people how I want games to progress. Like, I wasn't a big fan of 11's visuals because I don't like that anime goofiness. I'm not an anime guy, but I did appreciate the story, and I actually enjoyed the game. It's, they had the story end up making it better than what it was for me, right? But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the.
Yeah, but then like for you, Tim, like Dragon Quest is not your series. I mean, it's like
no, it's not
very
but I
much
will play playing
anime.
12 though, just because I played 11. But it's not my series. But I do like that 2D kind of visual. I would love to see. Wouldn't it be cool if 12 went back to its roots and did the 2.5D visuals? I would be personally a lot better off of that. But I don't see them.
Yeah, no chance. Like I don't see that. But anyway. All right.
Wishful thinking.
Well, wishful thinking. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't know. I think the next thing. Oh, by the way, Cranberry and I finished the first part of the expansion. So I don't know if I've ever talked to you about Dragon Quest X's expansions, how they work. Did I ever mention any of that?
No, not really.
Okay, so like in WoW, you'll get like going back to like pandas because that was so fun. Mists of Pandaria. Right? Like, you get the beginning of the expansion and then they like slowly add. Well, it's very similar. Like, Dragon Quest is very, very similar, except it always follows the exact same sort of like baseline. So you get the 0.0 release. Okay, so like right now it's 7.0 was released. So we just finished it today. So this morning we finished the storyline of that, and now you got to wait for 0.1, then 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5.
Oh yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah, so like because like that's how Dragon Quest set up, like for 10. So you always have basically 6 parts to every expansion, which is cool. Like I like that. So at least that I know. Like Cranberry was saying, probably in the fall we'll get 7.1 will get released, but I am very much looking like forward to seeing the Dragon Quest Festival. It has not been announced if we're going to have a Dragon Quest Festival over the summer, so I'm really curious.
Oh, thinking of which, you heard BlizzCon was canceled. Yeah. All this in-person stuff I think is gone, dude. It's all going to be digital format. That's obviously what a lot of companies like, and it's good for them because it's substantially less cost, right? I mean, renting out these huge venues and stuff, that's expensive, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, BlizzCon's never been free, so they do recuperate some cost, but probably nowhere near. But when they announced that, and then they kind of did the verbiage of in the future, bullshit, it's not coming back. And that's good. It's
but with DQ, it's strange because it doesn't have to be in person. They also do TV based ones, is what they call it.
Oh, okay, so
that's
they
what
do.
They call
okay.
it. They do like virtuals as well. It's just strange that I've heard nothing about an upcoming event. So I don't know, man.
Why do you think that is, dude? Because they can't cancel Dragon Quest. It's too much of
no. And Tim, like you're thinking of it in North American terms. Like in Japan, there's at least 4 Dragon Quest games released a year.
Whoa, 4? We don't get that many.
No, of course not, because you have to think of this. They're almost all.
Oh
released.
yeah, they have that mobile. I played that mobile one. It was okay for a while, but
no, dude.
I'm not.
You're thinking North America. I'm talking. There are so many Dragon Quest games that are released only in Japan. That's why I'm saying that's what I mean. Where I'm like, it's not Pokemon yet, like in the sense of where it's like a worldwide thing where they really emphasize like the whole series. That's why I got a kick out of 12, where they were like, oh yeah, you're gonna be more action focused and this and that, everything else. And I was like, why would you give up your market? That makes no sense to me. at all. And it's like,
Unless
you want to grow it.
like
I'm down
yeah,
for
exactly. That's why I think
growing.
it appeal more to the Western market, or at least get like that's what they did with the 7 rebate. Let them give option traditional and new.
Yeah,
That
fine.
way you get the best of both
Yeah,
worlds,
and
right? And then
yeah,
it pleases both fans.
exactly. But
I think they should do that.
I like to think of like, look at 11, right? Look at 11.
It did
11
well, man.
11 is the highest selling friggin'
Yep.
Dragon Quest in like North America, and you look at that and it will forever, that no company will ever do this again, ever. I will never forget the box set, man. Never forget that for the rest of my life. It's in storage right now, but I will never forget that. Having the sword box where you open up the sword box and you have 2 books. And you open up those books and one is a PlayStation 4 game and the other is a Nintendo 3DS game. That is
it's never
never
gonna happen.
happening again.
You remember, a lot of our viewers probably are too young, but you and I, NES days, and not so much Super NES, but NES day, you remember the story of the game was actually the booklet. We used to get nice, awesome booklets. I used to read the story. God, I miss that kind of. I mean, I know today it's better and modern, but there was a certain nostalgia,
Yeah,
a certain
dude.
charm to it.
No, exactly.
And
So,
yeah.
So, dude,
I miss that.
That is kind of my thing where it was like Dragon Quest 11 was still so old school in some ways, like, you know, like, and yet it's still sold unbelievably well. So I'm like, that, you be careful is all I'm saying. Like, as a company, like, just be careful about that, because if you go too far and you piss off a whole nation,
yes,
it's not worth it. Like, it's just not worth. It's such a historically significant game that it's like, I don't know. Anyway, all right. We have a few other things I want to, because there's another topic I really want to pick your brain on. So this next one is just really, really quick, guys. And it's just that, you know, players are sort of, I don't want to say they're up in arms. And this time they might be rightfully so. So, you know that Bethesda, because of the Amazon television show there, Fallout, like, now they're in like, oh yeah, we got Fallouts for everybody. And like their games are selling like hotcakes right now because people are interested, right? And so anyways, the next gen update for Fallout 4 is really being almost universally panned by people, just saying, you know, still tons of bugs. It broke tons and tons and tons of mods on PC, which we talked about the other day.
Oh, but that's common, by the way, every time there's a new update.
No, exactly. 100%. And just saying that, like, overall, it wasn't just the best. Nothing to really talk about, to be honest. I just wanted to mention, I thought it was interesting. But the other one was that Todd Howard, the head of Bethesda, actually like has been doing the rounds, and I like the fact that he actually came out and was saying, like, they have a problem. And the problem is that they need to figure out a way of essentially cutting the development time of their huge RPGs.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe AI is going to help with that. But
well, maybe AI, or maybe you have multiple teams, or maybe you, like, something's got to give. Because he was saying, like, it's ludicrous that it's going to take a decade.
That's like MMO type. MMOs take that. You can understand that MMOs are massive, but a normal game should not take that. Like, they need to address that. And then again, I don't want them milking these franchises to death. Like, I don't want to Fallout every year. It's something cool, you know.
Yeah.
Because these games have a huge amount of replayability too, especially on the PC side with mods. It totally changes the vanilla, and you know, it's one thing. Like, if you're a console exclusive person, you miss out. Mods are amazing, and they're never really going to be on consoles. So, like, Steven's never going to experience vanilla. Let's say vanilla Skyrim, he can get, of course, on the console, but he'll never experience a modded version, which is drastically improved. So it's sad, but
I mean,
I don't want them milking it too much.
No one has cracked that. I sincerely thought that Microsoft was going to be it, like 10 years ago. 15 years ago, whatever. I really did, guys. Like, I thought they were going to be the first company to do it. because I was like, well, why not, man? It's all DirectX. It's all their tech anyway. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just, yeah, no, it just never materialized. And it's wild because it's not like years ago. Like today, there's like one or two sites that are like basically have like a monopoly over mods where people host them all. You can just install like one little piece of software and it does everything for you. You don't even have to do anything.
For the back. I don't know if you remember this, but you remember back in Windows 95, they didn't have the Windows Update program, so you had to get like stuff manually and stuff like that, especially when we were online. But yeah, so just imagine Windows updates where you actually had to go manually downloading them. Yeah, it would be stupid, right? So yeah, modding's so much better than back in the old days.
Yeah, and dude, like there are some crazy stuff. Like for Fallout now, it's all the rage, right? Like everybody's talking about it and everything like that. And I'm like, you know, there's a Fallout 1 mod that is based on Fallout 4. So you can experience, I don't know how far along it is or anything like that, because this was a number of years ago. I remember reading about this. And I was like, that's wild, man. Like totally wild that some, dedicated fans basically use the modding ability of Fallout 4 and recreated Fallout 1. That's the kind of stuff. And like now with Fallout London, same idea. It's an entirely
London.
Game.
Yeah, it's not official. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
It's so cool,
yeah,
man. That mods open up. I always say I'm going to stick this to the end of time that everyone should still experience vanilla version of the game before they mod it, because to me that's how you should play it, as it's intended, and then after that enhance your abilities. So, some people don't do that, but
like I'm okay. So here's the thing. I say everyone should try the vanilla experience.
Yes.
And then depending on the age of the game. And when I say the age of the game...
that's a variable age, if it's really old.
Well, it's... Okay, so like today, with modern sort of sensibilities, you are so used to, if you're playing on a controller, for example, that if you press in the left stick, the left, whatever, trigger or whatever, you're going to go into like a first person, like aiming type of thing. You're just so used to doing that. That is the norm. But if you go back to like Fallout 3, that doesn't happen, because it predates the popularity of that, coming to sort of like every sort of game. So a modder released that ability, like stuff like that. Like, so I agree with you. I agree that like, it's good to like, just to see what the difference is, because otherwise you don't really appreciate it, right? Like if you start with the mods right away, you're not going to really appreciate what was changed or whatever. And especially like you said with Skyrim, man, some of the mods on Skyrim, it looks like a whole new game. Like people have gone back and meticulously redid all the textures, all the like everything, and you're just like, it's kind of like an HD remake, but it was done by fans. And it looks
just like I told you, that Zelda mod where it's a Ocarina of Time remake, with high def. So yeah, it's just, again, you see that, and just sit there and you wish Nintendo had a competitive piece of hardware, right? It's like, wow, this is what Zelda's supposed to be like.
Yeah,
I know visuals are not everything, guys. I understand that, but there's certain series, flagship series like Mario. though, Nintendo does an amazing job with their Mario series, even on their limited hardware. But you just look at the difference between the Mario compared to Zelda. Zelda's great and all, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, whatever, but you could tell that the Switch is holding it back, right? You could tell that the Switch is holding that system.
Like I've always. I mean, you're this topic. You're talking to the wrong guy, because like I've always been such a fan of like when people redo like the opening of like Ocarina of Time, with like the latest Unreal Engine or whatever, and you're just like, wow, like like wow. And like people have done it now with Breath of the Wild, with like the forest area and stuff, and it's like you can see like individual leaves blowing down and stuff, and you're just like, holy man, that looks sick.
Thinking of which, not just Nintendo though, but don't you think, besides maybe Sony, that since they're focused on Western, don't you think though traditionally Japanese developers aren't too interested on cutting in realistic graphics. Look at their bulk of their games.
Yeah, okay. Well, to be honest, man, even Western developers like that's always been the catch, right? That's always been my catch. Is like some of these demos and stuff like that. I look at them and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like absolutely stunning. Like the most glorious thing I've ever seen. But then I get off and I sort of sit there and I'm like, wait a second, I've never played a game my entire life that looked like this.
Yeah,
Like ever. So I'm like, so what is this? You know what I mean? Like, is this just a video that someone's like
a lot of times the demo text or just text up and the gameplay doesn't end up being, because you have to get stuff out, because you want gameplay to be fluid and fast, right? Responsive.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be bogged down by bad frame rates. But now we're getting Unreal 5 engine's very powerful, dude. And it's just in its infancy. So there's some things that they could do with that. Pretty good.
We're going to see it. It's perfect. It ties perfectly into this
our next subject.
Yeah. So, guys, if you don't know this, but I want to say, what, 10 years, maybe 8 years? Nvidia has had like a stranglehold on graphics cards. Now, there's two different markets, okay? So this is for everybody that doesn't know this. So every console that you have has a graphics card made by somebody. Everyone. They all do. Even if you have system on a chip, that chip is made by somebody, right? Like, yes. So, specifically talking about graphics cards, we've got two companies, right? We've got AMD and we've got Nvidia. AMD's with the Radeon series, and Nvidia now, well, currently it's still the RTX series or whatever. I had no idea that AMD was struggling as much as they are. Like, and especially considering their latest flagship like GPU, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is the strongest card that's on the market right now. It was pretty wild. So they lost here. Revenue from its embedded segment is down 46% year over year, but the biggest decline comes from the gaming sector, coming in at a painful reduction of 48%. Now, by itself, that is absolutely awful. But like they say, but paired with the knowledge that this information is down 33% from the previous quarter is really cause for alarm. They're like, suffice it to say, this is just an article I was reading where the news was broke. Radeon GPU sales have absolutely nosedived. And
yeah, you have to remember too that AMD used to be the poor man's PCs. Like if you didn't want to pay for Intel high-end PC, but you wanted a comparable thing for significant savings, AMD was where you went. But I don't think the savings is as big as it used to be, right? Both of them are expensive, and I wonder if that's kind of hurting. Because at the end of the day, NVIDIA is more widely known. So it's like, well, why would you, if the costs are similar, why would you get AMD unless you're a fanboy, right? So
yeah, well, I mean, I'm the prime target, right? Like I am a fanboy of Nvidia. I never owned a non-Nvidia GPU.
Yeah, me too.
So like, but is there a reason why? Like on my side, I can't speak for you, but for like on my side, not necessarily. It's just I've always had Nvidia, so it's my go-to. Like I know, like I just said, right? Like I know we're in the RTX series right now, right? So we have the 2000 series, we have the 3000 series, we're currently in the 4000 series. Jarrod's waiting for the 5000 series. I can't even tell you what AMD's, like I just don't have a clue.
Yeah, and well, the thing too is the industry is kind of more like AMD too, not AMD, sorry, Nvidia with their graphics, their games are optimized for Nvidia. So there's a lot of incentive to go Nvidia. So AMD's gonna reinvent themselves or something. But you forget Intel's in the GPU market too. But who knows if that's gonna even make a splash.
I think Intel. If I'm Intel right now, I am legitimately concerned about the future of my company because like you said, the PC industry as a whole is growing year over year, but only one segment is growing year over year, which is laptops. Like we're getting mobile like more and more and more and more. And on the laptop scene, It's not
Nvidia
Intel
dominance,
that is dominating. It is all
No.
these system on a chips that are dominating. Ever since Apple's, well, it's not Apple. What was it, Qualcomm or no? Who the hell does Apple use? I can't think right now. Anyways,
ARMs right now.
but is the company itself called ARM, or is ARM the actual?
Oh no, that's just the name abbreviation of the technology.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I thought.
Who?
Because Snapdragon is the new one for Windows. And guys,
Yeah.
trust me, you're going to hear about this big time. Because now Microsoft has given up on Intel and has jumped ship.
Intel, dude. I think it's the thing of the. They still make, and they kind of have the problem is they're too heat. They need to learn to get the power consumption and heat down. They should just bite the bullet and just go ARMs too, or
I
something
think
like
they're
that.
going to have I don't think they're going to have a choice. Like we talked about this briefly like one time, but like he who comes or she who comes up with the idea, not the idea, but the ability to somehow harness the sheer power that comes from the ARM sort of technology or whatever you want to call it, with heat dissipation and battery length, but somehow makes a little pipeline to a standalone GPU, you are going to crush the PC industry. Like, you're just gonna freaking kill it. Because that's the problem right now with all these other, like with the Apple's M series and with Snapdragon and all of that, is that there is no GPU. It's embedded into the cores on the processor. So you get your graphics cores, your performance cores, all of those. And yes, I mean, it's getting ridiculous. We were at like, what, 4 nanometers? Now we're 3 nanometers. Now they're talking about 2 nanometers. Like, it's starting to get like freaking ridiculous. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not entirely sure what the hell Intel is gonna do. But they got to do something. They can't just disappear. That would be ridiculous.
No, I don't, but they do definitely have a lot of concerns that they have to address ASAP, because the market moves at a pretty fast pace, and they're already hurting. And you have to also remember too, when we talk about Apple, but Apple still to this day, even though they're extremely successful company, their market share compared to PCs abysmal, right?
Yeah, of course.
All you fanboys out there, Apple fanboys, they can't touch the PC side. So Intel needs to be smart, because that market's huge, and they can't let it just.
No, exactly.
I mean, but it's like their name's so huge too, right? So it's like, I don't know, but I think they need to ditch and go with everyone and just, I don't know.
Like I said, someone just has to figure out how to do a system on a chip, V1 system on a chip. So that would be fantastic for your laptops and all of this. But then like some kind of revision to that chip that allows a solid, and I'm not an engineer, guys. It's entirely possible. No. Everything I'm saying is like impossible or stupid or whatever. So I apologize. But it's just like, I've always looked, like I said the other day, like imagine having a Mac Pro with 4 graphics cards working, like 4 of the RTX 4090s in there, all working together on this like little chip. Like, are you kidding? That would like, what? That would like be enough to send us to space. Like, it's wild. And so it's sad to see AMD though going down, because I don't want Nvidia to have a monopoly. That's not a good thing either, So anyway,
AMD is going to have to figure something out ASAP. But yeah, it's kind of sad, because they've always been competitors, and sometimes the good thing about it is AMD one year will come up with a better tech, and Nvidia will counter it. So it's always been a tug of war with them, and I don't want them to be gone forever.
So speaking of all of that, because we're coming near the end, this is really quick. I'm really looking forward to Sonoa's saga Hellblade 2. It gets released in like what, a week or two, something like that.
Yeah, and it's game day one
Game Pass.
For Game Pass. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
So because you are checking that out, I'm curious to see, where does your computer fall within all of this? So, ladies and gentlemen, they've just released like the specs. I'm not going to go through like all of these
what
things.
is it? Tell me.
So, okay, storage-wise, I like to start with that just because it's the easiest. 70 gigs, that seems awfully low.
That's not bad.
I was a little surprised. I mean, my God, Fallout was like 120 gigs or something. Like
That's an older game, too,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's also massive, but
yeah, I know.
not too bad.
But still, I was like, not too bad. Standard system RAM, so funny, man. It's so funny how RAM no longer affects anything, because it's like it's sort of. It used to be like one of the key things that you had, and now it's just nobody cares anymore.
Nothing, yeah.
So 16 gigs standard across the board. 16 gigs has been, I want to say, the standard for like a decade now. Like it's so weird.
It's weird, right?
It's so weird. Okay, what do we got? So VRAM. This is where you start getting more into your graphics stuff. Okay. So I'll just say your GPUs, okay? So GPU, if you have the Nvidia 1000 series, the GTX 1000 series, you're basically looking at the bare minimum, okay? So that would be basically like 1080p, low settings. Processor, they list as the Intel i5 8400 series. So just to give you an idea of like if you're somewhere around there, I'm not going to go into the whole AMD and all of this because like I have no idea how any of that works, so I apologize for that. My computer is rocking out the medium settings, so that's the Intel i5 9600 series. This is, I think it's a 9.9 still when they were still like pushing those out. But it's the 2000, the RTX 2000 series. I've got the 2080, I think, is in this. Yeah, the 2080 is in this one. So I'm going to be somewhere on the higher end of the medium settings. Recommended settings, though, is for 1440p. It's the Intel i7 10700K series. So what are you? What are you?
I'm a 12 i9, so I really beat that.
Yeah, i9. They're still making the i9s. I don't I don't know what the hell. So funny that because like I never see it anywhere. I always thought that was going to be like a big clear thing. And
because there's only one generation newer than mine, the 14 after this, the 12, and then they skipped the 13 for some reason. I don't know why. And then the 14. So my CPU, even though it's
so what is yours?
Old, I bought the.
What is it?
It's the whole extended. I got the extra version of it too. The I think it's ST or whatever it's called, but it's the second highest. If you guys look up the i9, it's the second best right now. And I got 32 gigs of RAM, which really doesn't matter. And then I got the 3070.
Okay,
Ti.
so then this you're somewhere in the recommended specs for this. Then. Yeah, definitely you have a better processor. The GPU is the RTX 3080 is what they recommend.
Oh, okay, so a little.
Yeah, but you might compensate a bit on the CPU side.
CPU, yeah.
Now for very high settings, so high at 4K is because don't forget you're also only playing in 1080, right?
No, 1440.
Oh, you are in 1440. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the 12. How do you say this new series? It's like the 12,600 series. So what do they say? The 12,600 series, or
I just call it 12. I don't know how to officially. Plus, there's I always do 12 plus the last digits because there's two of them. There's the I don't see them in front of me, but there's like an extra digit on the higher end version of it. I think they had an S or a T. Or something.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah, so that's what
there's an unlocked one.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what people officially call it, but.
Okay, well, this one is the K, whatever the hell the K is.
That's what I have. K, yes. I think that's the highest. Yeah, the K. I forget what the abbreviation is, but I have the highest. Yeah, I think it is K, by the way. Yeah. Now, jots in my memory.
I haven't looked for.
Look it up,
I haven't looked for PC parts. The other day I just randomly put a computer together just to see what it would be like. But anyways, and for the graphics card, it's both the RTX 4080. Which is the card that I would buy now if I didn't know that the 5000 series is coming out later this year. So no bloody way in hell am I going to do that.
I got it for you, my friend. Here, I don't know why I just didn't look up system information. Mine's 12th generation 9. It's a 12900KF. If I remember right, the one that is out there doesn't have the F or the K at the end. So yeah, mine's the top end of the i9 series.
Yeah. So
and I think they add the KF at the N.
So the
Or
12,
an
the
F.
12 is just basically saying that it's the 12th generation.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And they skipped 13th, which is weird. If you look online, I have to double check. There's the 14th generation. I'm not sure why they skipped it. Maybe there wasn't enough. I could be wrong, but I was looking at the current because I wanted to see how far behind I am in I-9. And
No, but you're pretty good, man.
okay.
No, but
Yeah.
you're
I spend extra money because I do that. I spend a little bit extra money so I get more life out of the system. So I don't have to upgrade as much.
I totally understand that. Okay, so anyways, nothing else. I just wanted to let you guys know about that. That's it. There's nothing to talk about. We only got like a few minutes left anyways for this.
And then you have one more thing.
Exactly. Like, tell the people, what is it?
Shadow DLC for Elden Rings.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? So do you play that game, by the way?
Dude, I wanted to because it looked pretty awesome, but I forget when that something was released around. Oh, yeah, I know what it was. It's the Curse. That's right. So Horizon, the series Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon, whatever, blah blah blah. That series is cursed. It's always cursed. Like, I feel so bad for the developers, man, because they put their heart and soul into it, and it is cursed. So the first one gets released same time as Breath of the Wild, and the whole planet ignores it for Breath of the Wild. Then this time, the sequel comes out the same week as Elden Ring, and the whole world ignores it for Elden Ring. And I feel so bad for them because it's such a good series. And now that is a beautiful game, man. If you can play that on your PC, play that. That is a stunning series. So anyway, yeah, guys, Shadow of the Erd Tree will be Elden Ring's one and only DLC. It has been confirmed. So as such, yeah, if you're an Elden Ring fan, you got something to look forward to, but they basically have pretty much all but confirmed there will be a sequel that they're going to work on to Elden Ring, which is why they're not going to do tons of DLC. So,
okay.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
One of our community members, Nick, he streams Elden Ring almost, maybe not weekly anymore, but yeah, he's a big fan. And I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot more streams from him. Yeah, he loves those Soul-like games, which I told you that they're traditionally. I know I'm going to get No Rest for the Wicked most likely. I'm not a huge fan because it's, I don't like tedious difficulty where it's a masquerade by you have to move and all that, but that's not fun to me, right? I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, I know I have to move, and if I don't, I get wiped. If I do, it's a challenge, obviously, but it's a tedious. At least that's what I feel with a Soul-likes. It's like it's being obnoxious and annoying on purpose. That's my take. And I know there's a lot of Soul fans out there. No disrespect to the series, they're great games, but I just don't like the gameplay because at the end of the day, I just want to knock them out quick and get on with it, right?
Yeah,
because it's filler content. Because think about it, you can probably race through the game real quick, but these enemies take so long to beat that it's bad. That's why I feel. I don't know. Are you a big Souls?
No, dude. Not like I actually do like some difficult games and stuff like that, but it's like dude. Now with where I am in my life, with just
that's
so
what I'm trying
busy,
to tell you. It
like
takes too much time.
I just don't have I just don't have the time. I mean, I'm the type of guy like Zelda and Dragon Quest. These are some of my favorite series, but like I don't even have the time to play all of these anymore.
Exactly.
That's why it's like when a game like, when I go back and I'm playing Fallout 76, like, okay, cool. That's all I pretty much have time for. That's it. I'm not going to get into 9 different games and then play each one for 5 minutes. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. No, I know what you're saying. That's why I like player versus player games more so than it's rare that I get into single player games these days.
Yeah, well, to each his own. All right, man. So thanks everybody. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. As always, leave us comments. I like we always get like the same couple of comments here and there, which are always good. So thanks for watching everybody, and we will catch you next week.
Lates.